Hello, my fellow readers. I Dark Symphony 777 with a fan fiction review. As always, a link to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts on the video and any future fan fictions you want me to read or review. And finally, this is my opinion. My opinion is not indicative of everyone in the world, so please respect that. So, I'm back with Dan. This is everything. So anyway, chapter 3 of Dan vs. Everything. I actually quite like it. I actually decided to move my schedule a little around. I'm actually gonna do a small update video tomorrow. It was originally supposed to be today instead, and this video was supposed to be yesterday, but a lot of stuff happened yesterday that I want to talk about, but I want to still kind of sort mentally through. So please wait patiently for that for tomorrow. So, chapter 3 of Dan vs. I actually quite like this chapter. So what is the plot? The plot, unlike Dan versus the factory and Dan versus cooking, it was actually very mundane in its presentation. Like in chapter 1, it starts with like Dan getting pissed that trees are spraying actual pesticide on trees, and Dan's like, there are only 4 trees. Like, what we're told by the city we have to do this. Factory, and like cooking because he decided to be Dan decided to be a dipshit and set his house on fire. It's like cooking. It was actually very mundane in how it starts, and the fact that at the end of chapter 2, Dan decides to go stay at a motel. And that's fine. And then he wakes up, and his body is covered in bedbug bites, and he's like, motel! And I actually like this setup better because I've actually dealt with bedbugs. Like my mom, for like the longest time, has dealt with had a weird infestation of bedbugs that we could never get rid of. We did finally, about mid last year, we finally got rid of the bed bugs, so this one actually kind of resonates with me because I think I can speak for everyone saying that bed bugs suck. Yeah, bed bugs suck. They do. And so Dan's, trying to plan everything. He's like, I should get Chris. And he calls Chris, and Chris is actually taking care of his wife, who got injured in the last chapter. And she had like an arm in a sling and stuff like that. And Chris is actually resolute. He's like, no. I help you this time. No. I'm taking care of my wife. And he's like, So Dan starts, trying to figure things out. And so his first plan is to literally just go to a store, get some chains, chain himself around a cabinet, and just complain. I will complain about the conditions of this motel. And so the owner of the motel's whole idea is get his bodyguard, pick up this cabinet, and throw it out. And so Dan is like, well, Chris won't help me. Who do I have that can still help me? I know, Ted. Apparently, Ted is some guy who never really showed up in the show, but he's mentioned a lot. It's like an old friend of Dan and Chris. And so, Dan manages to find Ted. Ted gets completely pissed off. Said, how are you able to get out of jail? But I went to jail. And then it's, anyone who kind of knows the show, I mean, based on the fact that Chris's wife is FBI, I think she kind of played a part in it. I'm guessing. Guessing. And so Ted decides to, Ted wants to, go clean. He wants to, it's like, I just want to do this. Find a kid, find a wife. Why did I say find a kid first? I don't know. Find a wife, have a kid, be clean. I'm on parole. It's fine. And Dan manages to help Ted by saying, hey, this place is, in typical Dan fashion, by saying, the Anthropod invaders, or Anthropod Armada, or something like that. And Ted, evidently said, fine, one last job, but we're going to do it clean. And so his whole plan was, find out some evidence, go to the cops, tell the cops, here, they're violations and stuff like that and shut them down. However, it's eventually revealed that the mob's involved. Hooray! Hooray! So basically, the mob, the owner and his wife, have a little bit of addictions. What the husband has a gambling addiction, and the wife has an opioid addiction, and she's hiding the opioid in her cigars. And the guy, he's gambling all his money away, so he got a loan from like the mafia, and now the mafia wants their money back. Typical mafia stuff. So, where's my money? I don't have it. Brick is like, no, wait, I have it. Where is it? $20. Brick is like, wait a second. It's not enough. Never enough for the mafia, son. We're off the mafia. You gonna get your bread. You're gonna get your legs broken, brah. Wait, Italian mafia doesn't say brah. He's out of us. I couldn't resist doing one joke. I gotta resist. So basically, when Ted starts at least a little bit of this investigation, he said, this place is kind of a mess. Have some kind of, we probably have some violations on our hands. Let's just, let's get some footage and some recordings, and then take the cops. And then they find prostitutes kind of coming onto the motel, including Dan's favorite prostitute, a sassy black woman named Trixie. Yeah. And so Trixie kind of lays down, lets them know that, hey, the mafia's involved. And then Ted goes, no, I'm out. I'm gone. And Ted leaves because he's like, I'm on parole. I'm not dealing with this shit. I was happy to help until the mafia got involved. I'm out. And Dan got into a fight with like a prostitute. And a woman, an older prostitute, Master Prime prostitute, which actually pretty funny. It's like, oh! that was before Ted said I'm out. And so Dan decides to, get his revenge the old Dan way. He just grabs a bat and goes after the husband and wife. And so he barges into the room, the hotel lobby. He finds us. I'm gonna get your brain. And they go, wait, you're not with the mafia? It's like, what? And then basically the guy reveals that the mafia is gonna take take control of the motel, kill him, kill his wife, basically turn it into like a front for like a drug station and stuff like that. And then they're gonna take all the prostitutes and possibly kill them or just start owning them and treat them like dirt. And then Dan goes uncharacteristically quiet, and he says, well, he doesn't say anything except for letting the husband know, saying, hey, your wife's putting opioid in her cigars. And leaves. And then he just completely freaks out. So, God damn it! I'm guessing Dan is like, well, you can take away this motel. You can treat me like dirt. You don't mess with my favorite prostitute, Trixie. Oh. And so he warns the prostitutes, saying, hey, the mafia's going to come here to either kill you or turn you into slaves. The Pastor Prime prostitute, she's like, I'm out of here. And Trixie's like, no, we got to defend ourselves. And there's basically 4 prostitutes. The older one, there's Trixie, the sassy one, there's the bimbo. The bimbo, and then there's the drunk fat one, And, Trixie and the bimbo, because I completely forgot her name. It's like a bimbo. Hey! They try and help her out, and Pastor Prime, Lola, it's like, no, I'm out. And so Trixie actually, is going to help out Dan. It's like, these are my sisters. I may be a prostitute, but I'm a prostitute with honor. So I'm going to help you. I'm going to make sure they're safe. And, she actually owns a gun. It's like, okay. So we're going to get something awesome? Hey! And so, this little squad of mafia guys, they show up. three guys go after the prostitute. We're gonna get the hookers. We're gonna get them on. And he tells the drivers to watch the car. And Mafia, he deals with the car by making like a homemade Molotov, and he breaks it, and he manages to get the car to blow up and scares off the driver. So anyway, the three guys, they go after the prostitute. Trixie comes out with like a Tech 9, kills one of them. The other one, they're off on a standstill for like a little bit. The other mobster manages to nick her. And then Dan shows up, just hits him with the head with the baseball bat, a crowbar, and, just starts wailing on him and kills him by just bloodying him. And then the main mobster of that group, Ray, shows up, starts beating the crap out of Ray. Not Ray. Ray beating Ray up. Dan, they get into a little fist fight, and he's like, hey, and Ray manages to, get down Dan long enough. Trixie manages to get hold of the gun and reload it and spray, but she's bleeding. And, manages to get distracted long enough for Ray to come over and start hitting her for Dan to, get back up and just basically manages to shoot him using one of the other mobsters' guns. They manage to save Trixie, you know what, I'm actually looking where the hell that bimbo's name is. And Andrea. That's the fat girl. Misty, there we go. Misty's the bimbo one. And so, Dan manages to convince Misty, saying we're just acting on self-defense and stuff like that. Trying to exonerate Trixie and everyone and, just trying to help them out. And the cops, they manage to say, hey, okay, well, fine, we'll take it, we'll deal with it. And also, they also threw the blame on the owner, saying, "Oh, this place is horrible." And the story ends with, like, the owner of the actual CEO of the hotel chain and stuff like that. They shows up and says, "We don't want to get any bad publicity. Is there anything you want to avoid a lawsuit?" And Dan's like, "I want the most fanciest hotel for a week with unlimited room service and TV. Deal." And so the chapter actually ends with, like, Dan just, petting this cat like Mr. Whisker, like an evil villain like this, I guess. What are you looking at? Keep looking forward. Like this. He's so evil. He's so evil. He's so evil. You know what? Go away. So yeah, that's the plot. Like, I actually really like the setup. It's more grounded. Like, the first two chapters, they kind of start kind of realistic and then just completely fly off the rails. Seriously, Gordon smears me. I'm sorry, I'll never get tired of that. Just the name, Gordon smears me. Oh, speaking of that, Jimmy Oligarchy, really? You couldn't come up with a better name than Oligarchy. I know who you're referencing, but Oligarchy, really? Oh, that name's so bad, it's good. Oh. There is a side plot with Elise, but just like Chapter 2, I didn't mention this in Chapter 2. I kind of mentioned this to the author offhand within a private message. I didn't specifically mention talking about Elise, mainly due to the fact the plot, her plot kind of slowed to a standstill, and I would at least want to get as much details as I can before talking about that again. With this chapter, it's kind of the same. It's just a minuscule amount of information. Probably next chapter is when that plot picks up, and I'll kind of talk about what happened on her story in chapters 2 and 3. But right now, it's there's simply not really enough to talk about in terms of her plot. So she's not going to be we're outside of this. She's not really going to be talked about right now. Probably if chapter 4 comes out, then who knows? Maybe she might have a more substantial plot, and I'll be able to talk about what happened in these in this chapter and last chapter. Characters, you pretty much just have Dan, Ted, and Trixie. well, the process, like, there's like a bunch of mini characters, but we're gonna talk about Dan. Dan is Dan. You know, he's like a conspiracy theorist. Like, but I like the fact he's kind of becoming a jerk with a heart of gold, and the fact that, you know, he unlike last chapter where, you know, he was about to beat the CEO, and he's like, and it was pretty much coerced into helping the lady out by Chris. This time he actually goes to help the prostitutes out of his own violation. Once he realizes, you know, they're in danger, he's like, I gotta save them. Granted, it's probably because Trixie is his favorite hooker, but there's that. And then we had Ted. Ted is, I guess, a wild card player. I don't know if he's going to be involved in past chapters, since from the look of things, he was never really involved in the story outside of just being mentioned by Dan and Chris. He's good for what he is. He's basically a nice balance. He's basically like a strong, like, he kind of plays off Dan just like Chris, but in a different sort of dynamic where Chris is sort of like the kind of sort of doormat where, you know, he's willing to stand up for himself, but he ultimately always, you know, surrenders to Dan. But Ted is like, no, I deal with that shit, and he plays like, he does like a different dynamic with Dan than Chris does, and I really like that little twist. Giving us a different dynamic. Same in a lot of ways, but different in others. And I actually really do want to see Ted more if there's ever a chance. Then we had Trixie. She's basically just a sassy black chick. You know, it's you know, she got shot. She's currently in the hospital at the end of the chapter. So who knows? We may see more of her. I actually would like to see more of her. I would actually like to see more of her than Ted, actually, because, you know, I just think that I just want to see more of her, simply because just the idea of a slight gangster, sassy black woman, adult worker, that's completely badass and just completely just doesn't, you know, does not really care what Dan speaks out of his mouth. Like, hey, I'm willing to help you. Hey. It reminds me of Wanda Sykes for some reason. I don't care. And then you have the owners. They're basically just a stereotypical addicted couple. You know, once they find out their addictions are still going strong, they blame each other. Chris is fine. You know, finally standing up to Dan, saying, you know, my wife kind of needs me more. I'm sorry, I ain't helping you. You know, you'll help yourself. Find what it is. It's granted, Chris probably just to introduce Ted to the whole thing, which is fine. Nothing bad. Grammar. I didn't see any grammar, well, except for one, and I don't remember where specifically it is, but for some reason, let's see if I can move the camera. So let's see if I can actually find it in this video. So basically the error is, it's literally just one word. It's supposed to be I've, but for some reason it's in bold. I actually read this on the Fanfiction app, so I don't know if it's on the actual main, if the boldness is actually on the main page. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see. No, I can't find it. It's somewhere. It's somewhere, but it's basically, it's the word I've, but it's bolden, and there's like a random capital S in it. That's literally the only error I found. Problem is, I don't know where it is in the chapter, because the chapter's big, and I do not have all the time in the world to look for this chapter. But other than that, I didn't find any grammar errors. Pacing, I thought it was a slightly slower pacing, kind of building up to the climax. It's it's typical storytelling 101. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. While it is simple, it starts out with very, very minor, understandable, bed bugs. Why are there so many bed bugs? Oh, motel! and then, slowly building up, and then, the fight with the mobsters being the climax, and then ending off with a sequel hook of Roy's boss finding out that Dan, kind of offed him, and it's like, oh, there's gonna be hell to pay. And, it's as basic as pacing can get, but just because it's basic doesn't mean it's bad. It's just really good. It's just, again, storytelling 101. Like, there's certain things that when it comes to storytelling, you don't forget. And compared to chapter 1 and chapter 2, this is the most basic of them all. But it just slowly builds up, and then once it gets to that crescendo, it speeds up, it climaxes, and then it slows down again. It's story. It's one of the first things you learn as a storyteller, how to build suspense. And then once the climax starts approaching, you speed it up, you get the climax, you slow it down again, and just, kind of ride the wave. Favorite part. Probably the fight with Dan and Trixie and the mobster, simply because it's, again, it's simple storytelling. Sometimes the most simplest things are the best things, and this is just, a simple fight. But it also shows that Dan is willing to abandon his revenge schemes just to help someone out who kind of really needs it. I know, according to TV tropes, he doesn't really go after innocent bystanders, and he'll only really do retribution based on what he was hit when he got pissed. Like, the first episode, someone keyed his car. So basically, once he found the guy's car, he's like, and Chris is like, oh no, he's gonna break it. And so he just pulls out the key and just scratches like a single line on it. And he's like, there we go, revenge done. And he has like a limit what he has to do, like, to get proper revenge. So it really fits that, these bystanders who, who's not going to get involved, that he's willing to abandon his revenge to turn around and go help them and stuff like that. Is there anything I would fix? Yes, there is actually one thing I would actually like to fix with the story. Why is there so many onomatopoeias? I kid you not, there is like such an unnecessary amount of onomatopoeias. For those of you who don't know, onomatopoeia is a word used to describe a sound, like grrr, like when a dog growls, like you trying to type that in a story, you say grrr, it's onomatopoeia. Like, the first one is not even like before Dan wants revenge. It's crunch. He steps on the cockroach. That one makes sense. Then ring, 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 beep, beep, click, clack. There is ring, 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 clunk, clunk, smack. There is just an unnecessary amount of onomatopoeias in this story. That's literally my only complaint. Is you overuse that. I would just, if I had to change anything about the story, just cut back on some of the onomatopoeias. Some of them, you keep some of them, but just get rid of a lot of them. There's just so much unnecessariness in terms of that. And it's just, onomatopoeias are meant to better immerse yourself in the scene. But when you're constantly adding in these unnecessary onomatopoeias, it actually starts to, cut yourself off from the immersion, because you're constantly hearing these weird, because you're constantly typing in and you're reading these unnecessary noises that really don't fit the scene at all. It started out as at least cute, but, nothing to complain. And as the chapter went on and on and on, it just started getting more unnecessary and more over the top and more annoying and just nonstop annoyance. Like, why am I just reading all these random onomatopoeias? But other than that, there's nothing really wrong with the story. Maybe if you want to fix the grammar error, the problem is, I have no idea where the chapter it is. I saw it. That's all I have to say about that. And just cut back on the onomatopoeias. Outside of that, I will have to say one other thing. The fact On the author's note, he said, yesterday, I was on the verge of canceling this because I feared to fall into the same trap as the Janes Must Be Crazy, where I went all grim, dark, and melodramatic and crap. No, none of that. Shame on you. Don't cancel a story if you're going to go grim, dark, and melodramatic and stuff like that. Sometimes that actually needs to be played out, if you want. I would suggest, if you're going to do something like that, write a separate story, get it out of your system, and then say, I'm going to come back to this, So that is my review on Dan versus Motel. The next video I'm going to be posting will be an update video where, I'm going to be talking about some stuff that's been happening in my life. I thought I want to get it off my chest, at least explain why I'm going to do the things I do for the next week. But I thought I just, I talk about that then. This is now. So this has been Dark Symphony 777, and cut.